On the left, this looks like a professional advertising poster, but as we zoom in on the details, the commercial viability disappears. You find garbled, nonsensical spaghetti letters and a character with an impossible, mangled hand. For years, these visual hallucinations made AI images unusable for serious production. This happened because early models functioned as stochastic parrots. They had no grasp of spatial logic. They were simply predicting which pixels usually sat next to each other. Users were essentially pulling a lever on a slot machine, hoping the reels would eventually land on a usable combination. That unpredictability confined AI to the role of a creative toy, something for brainstorming concepts, but not a tool you could rely on to hit a deadline. The update released on April 21, 2026, changed the pipeline. It inserted an intermediate reasoning step between the initial prompt and the final render. Now, the model plans the image before it draws it. To see if this reasoning actually makes the model production ready, we're going to build a full commercial asset from scratch inside the interface. The goal is a complete advertising campaign, one that requires consistent characters, multiple platforms, and perfect typography in 3 different languages. Before this update, coordinating all these moving parts, specifically the character continuity and the language swaps, required a massive amount of manual post-production to keep the assets from looking like they came from different worlds. This process starts by triggering thinking mode. It changes the model from a simple renderer into a visual partner that spends time calculating the logic of your request. The internal reasoning chain begins by conducting a live web search for current design trends. Then it runs a spatial check for scale and logic, resolving into a wireframe blueprint, a completed map of where every pixel needs to go. By locking in the physics and the layout before the generation starts, the model avoids the scaling errors and impossible geometry that plagued older versions. And this also changes how we prompt. Instead of keyword stuffing, we provide architectural instructions, defining exactly where headlines and logos should sit on the grid. For our first output, the model produces pixel-perfect English typography on the first attempt. This works because the model no longer sees text as a visual texture. It treats letters as exact semantic symbols, snapping them onto a mathematical grid with high precision spacing. Because the model understands the meaning behind the symbols, we can swap the copy instantly. The campaign renders flawless Chinese characters with 0 distortion. A second swap gives us Japanese typography that is equally crisp and correctly aligned. This removes a massive hurdle for production teams. These assets can move straight to a social feed or a presentation without needing a designer to manually retype the text. Now it is time for the next challenge, taking our lead character from that horizontal banner and placing them in a vertical Instagram story without losing their identity. This is 8-frame coherence. It locks in physical features and lighting across 8 generations. The character stays identical, even as the camera angle changes. We refine the results using a conversational edit loop. If the logo is too small, we just tell the model to move it to the right and scale it up. The system uses its persistent contextual memory to apply that specific feedback. Instead of re-rolling the dice on a brand new image, the model makes targeted adjustments to the composition we already approved. Here is the final result, a cohesive, multi-platform campaign built entirely inside ChatGPT. We have horizontal web banners, vertical mobile stories, and social posts, all sharing the same character and branding. This build was possible because of the O-series reasoning architecture. It acts as a shell that directs the image generation core, researching and planning every move. For marketers and developers, this drastically compresses the time between idea and finished asset. What used to involve multiple departments and days of revisions is now a streamlined conversation. The era of guessing prompts is over. The competitive edge belongs to those who manage a visual thought partner.